my story. I just hope that you find it interesting. So what I'll do a little bit is talk about what Vinnies does first of all, and then I'll move on to what we do at Fred's Van, just so that you've got it into context of the whole thing. So let's see if I can do this. There we are. Working. That's good. Okay. So, at Vinnies, Vincent and Paul, we're one of the largest charities in the world, and we operate in 130 countries, and we have over 1 million members. So we are pretty big, but in South Australia, we've been here since 1884, and we now provide assistance to almost 100,000 people, and we have about 2,500 volunteers, of which Fred's Van has a fair proportion of those, all on its own. So our core values that we try and work by is we respect by recognising our own values and the values of others. We provide a compassionate service, providing excellent care with gentleness and kindness. With simplicity, which is acting with integrity, clarity and honesty, and advocacy for people in need. So we support those who lack resources for healthy life and for human development. So what do we do in South Australia at Vinnies? So we've got a suite of special works. First of all, we've got the conferences. Now, members of the society are usually people that live out their faith in action by visiting people in need in their homes or in interview rooms at various places, say at the shop, they might have one of those. And we provide support, friendship and assistance in several different forms. So we know this as home visitation service, and we carry the conferences carry this out for St Vincent and Paul. So they are a group of people that have a common interest in responding to the needs of the people in their communities that are facing disadvantage. And last year, the members in South Australia, they made over 18,000 home visits, with assistance being provided for over 42,000 people in need. So they're pretty busy, and there's quite a lot of them. Okay. So we're on to the centres, which you probably all know. We're one of the largest recycling organisations in Australia, and we're staffed largely by volunteers in the centres. We've got 34 Vinnies shops across regional and metro South Australia. And apart from people going in and buying things because they're a bit of a treasure trove, you can go and pick up some pretty good bargains. They are actually there for a reason. They're a valuable resource for people on low incomes. We provide them with quality clothing, household goods, furniture, and often free of charge. So when the conferences go out to the people in their homes, they provide to them vouchers for our shops. They'll go into the shops and they'll claim what they put on the voucher. A lot of the time it's bedding, Manchester sheets, pillows, what have you. But anything else within clothing for the family, for the children. And a lot of the furniture that we pick up, so if you need to get rid of a sofa, you often turn up Vinnies, the furniture will go to these people first, and then whatever is left will go into the shops for sale. So they're a really important part of Vinnies. We assist people in the shops, and also the revenue that's made from the shops funds the other good works, such as Fred's Van. Next, we've got the Detention Centre. Now, when this was started, which was in 1961, they called it the Vincent and Paul Night Shelter. We now know it's the Detention Centre, and it's managed by the Homeless Persons Accommodation Services. Now, we can accommodate up to 49 people per night, 49 men per night, over the age of 18, and it is the only men's homeless shelter in Adelaide. They provide a massive range of services to those guys. And the guy, Mike, who runs it, is very interesting. He said if the only problem they had was homelessness, it would make my life so much easier. But they have so many other issues that they have to deal with. So obviously we provide solid stay, meals, showers, all that kind of thing. But we have other things that we can help them with, so we can refer them to other agencies. help them with their Centrelink. There's other things like addictions, the cause of their homelessness, which may be the breakup of the relationship, family. They've got income support issues, and the people at the centre can get right in there and they can help them, and they have they've got other accommodation that they can put them onto as well. So he has other referrals, and that very often in families with young children, they have language difficulties. They very often have no financial funds, so we can help them with that. They help them with things like filling out forms, which they find very daunting. You can imagine some of those Centrelink forms are not easy to go through even for the best of us. So they'll help them with forms. They also provide them help with furniture, with just simple things like beds. They don't have any beds for the whole family, so he has a garage at the back, and whatever he can get hold of from wherever, from Vinnies or from wherever, he'll keep them in there, and then he'll hand them out to the people there when they need them. And it's a place that they can go that they really understand what issues those migrants and refugees have. So they are completely across what they've been through. A lot of them come through detention centres, and it's a really interesting place to go to as well, to go and see them, and they really do help them out. I know what they have there is they have a fund available. I think it was a bequest originally, so it's a fund of money that for one instance, I know this family had they were arrived, and I think in their home country the lady of the family was a doctor. But in order to translate that over here, I do believe that it costs money to get that put into communications in Australia. So what they did is I think they lent her about $2,000. She could then do this. She then had the means to earn money, and then I think most of the time, the money is paid back, because once they start working, and they can return that money to their fund, and then we can use that money for other people. So that's really nice, and it's a very nice place to go to, and they're always looking for volunteers as well. We also have the Vinnies Youth. Now, Vinnies Youth is run by youth leaders, which are volunteers, and in South Australia we run camps, activity days for disadvantaged children. The camps and the activities that we run, they offer respite from the pressures of from a disadvantaged home. So it's the youth leaders that run these. It's based on trust, and they engage the children that attend in meaningful ways to develop their confidence and skills. The youth camps that we're running this year, they're at Ironrock. I think there's one at the Warradale Urban Camp and Mylor. We also have the Compere programme. Now, mental health issues impact on Australia. I think 1 in 5 Australians at some time in their life will come across mental health issues. And our Compere programme matches volunteers with people experiencing mental illness. So they may go out for coffee with them, or give them a ring, see how they're getting on. So they try and engage with them to try and break down that stigma of mental illness. And they try and increase social inclusion by linking and supporting people in their own communities. Now, Vinnies education. Fred's Van engages with some of the young people through the schools. We try and help young people understand that the actions they take make a difference in other people's lives. So schools can partner with and support Vinnies by forming like a mini Vinnies group for young children in primary schools, or young Vincentians for the high schools, and that's groups comprised of students and teachers who wish to become involved in community service and social justice. So they do things like hold fundraisers. They sometimes do sleep outs, like our CEO sleep outs. They'll do that at the schools, and they do clothing drives. So they sort of try and get involved and learn about social justice. We also have, which is relatively new to Vinnies, the LEAP programme. Now, LEAP stands for Learning, Education and Pathways, and it's run in conjunction with our Vincentian Alliance partners, which is the Hutt Street Centre and the Vincentian Centre. And we've engaged with an educator who works with people to help them back into the workplace in education. They come to him through referrals through the shops, through the Vinnies centres, and also from the Hutt Street Centre and also from the Vincent Centre. He's dealing again with a lot of people that may have breakdown in marriages, they have addictions, everything has sort of fallen apart, and he works with them sometimes in quite unusual ways to get them back into either work or education. And he's now, at the minute, he was saying he's got a very successful 4 gentlemen between the ages of 40 and 60 that he's been working with in the last year that have now joined TAFE courses. So that's some really good news, and we're quite pleased with that because it's obviously working. The last one before Fred's ban is the what we call FOHA, which is the Frederick Rosenham Housing Association. We started this in 1984, and we've got we manage over 200 properties, and so those are properties with people on low income at the risk of homelessness. And certainly, I know that we have some people that are referred to FOHA through some of our volunteers as well, and some of our clients. So now on to Fred's van. So what do we do? We've been operating in Adelaide since about the mid-1980s. We started off by delivering food to people in squats, and the way that the van came about was, I think, on one particular night, the van broke down, or rather the station wagon broke down, and the passers-by that came to help them and push the station wagon out of the way were from the Adelaide Lions. And since then, they funded the first van, and since then we have grown into what we are today. We provide, like I said, about blankets and beanies to people that sleep rough. We also give out books, and we are a point of contact for other services. Now, we go out after hours when most other agencies are closed, so it's always in the evenings, about 6 or 7 o'clock. And across all of the sites that I have in Adelaide, we go out 11 nights a week, so we cover a fair amount of Adelaide as well. We provide a hot evening meal at all sites, be it on a plate or in their hand, depending on how we're delivering that service. And of all of the nights, Sunday is the highest attended of all of the nights at all sites that operate on a Sunday. So I've got 7 sites across Adelaide. So we've got the city site, which goes into the city of Adelaide, into Border Place. We've got one down south, which is at Christie Downs, and 2 in the west, Semaphore and Ferryden Park, and I've got 3 in the north, which is Salisbury, Elizabeth and Gawler. Each of those may be presented very differently. They might not have a van attached, it might just be an inside preparation and service. Or we've got a van, say in the north, we've got 3 sites that use the van. So each one is very slightly different, has slight variances, but basically they're there to provide a hot meal to the people in the evening. Also, I've got one regional site at Port Lincoln, which opened last November, and it's going really well. And I think it's going to be much needed there. The reason why we started running Port Lincoln was because we give out a lot of assistance at the Port Lincoln conference and shop, and the numbers that are attending there do say that there is a good reason why that should be there. To run all these sites, of course, we've got lots of volunteers. We've got 450 volunteers now across all Fred's van sites, which takes some managing, I can tell you. Each site has one volunteer that oversees it. We call them the president, which is a very funny Vinnies term that I still find quite amusing. So they oversee everything that happens at that site. So you need one in charge, really. And then underneath them we have team leaders that run each team for each night, and we have 40 of those. Their job is actually quite important because they look after all of the team members that are in that team that do all the the cooking, the cleaning, everything. Particularly important on the city van when we go out to the city when we, you know, we are presented with lots of different issues that come through. We'll see a bit of violence and a bit of aggression, and so their job is actually very important. And some of those team leaders have been doing it for quite a number of years. I think one of my longest serving volunteers has been with us for about 17 years. So once they're in, they don't like to leave, and they're very, very good at it, and they take it very seriously. And they are, some of them are very inspirational to work with, I have to say. They're marvellous. We also have shoppers, van caretakers, cleaners, people that help with rosters, our health and safety helpers, everything that I can think of to use volunteers, we'll use them. It's very much a combined effort between all of us, because I am the only paid member of staff in Vinnies, and I work 3 days a week, so it can be a bit tricky to get it all done. Now we do what we do because we're based in each community, which I think is quite important. The volunteers come from those communities and they help with the issues that are in those communities, and that's I think is very important in trying to help those people. We serve very vulnerable people with many issues. It's not always about people that are sleeping rough. Their issues are very obvious to us when we see that, when we go into the city. Some of the suburban sites, it might not be very obvious what it is that's troubling them, but if we're there long enough, we do see that. We have families come through with young children. We may get older children come through whose parents are either, certainly we've got one of my sites whose parents is a drug addict, and so he'll come along, he'll be mentored by other people that are attending as well. We have people that are unemployed, underemployed, that suffer from mental health issues. That's quite a common one too. People in boarding houses, absolutely everything really that you can think of. And everybody that comes is welcome. And everybody that comes and gets a meal as well. So we are a lifeline to those people. Some people may be very isolated, might not have spoken to anybody that day, and so we're there to provide food and friendship, so that it is all woven in together. We also provide take-home food too, which is quite important, so they can take home a sandwich and a bit of fruit. If there are children involved, they might be able to take them to school the next day. We do that at all sites. So we fed last year 24,500 people, and of this, 14,000 of those we served in the city van. So we're quite busy. So here's the challenges, quite a lot of them. We try and do the food on a budget, which is always, obviously, we have to. So we have to shop wisely. We're always looking for food donators, always looking for people to help out in some way. I have people that do the shopping at Food Bank, which is a not-for-profit organisation that, say, like the big supermarkets would donate to, and we would then go and buy that food. It's much, much reduced. We use food that is donated by Vinnies. We just do quite a lot of clever cooking and creative cooking. And it's amazing how well you can do on a budget. One thing that I try and do for all of my bands is engage with the local community, because then everybody can help. So certainly for the city band, I've managed to get the local community involved. One of them is the butchers. There are the butchers. If they've got anything left, they always give me a ring, and down I go, and we've got a trolley full of sausages and mince and what have you. Baker's Delight, marvellous source of everything, bread and cakes, you name it. We've got, that's brilliant. But I'll come on to Baker's Delight in a minute, because they are, there's a different story for them. And anything like any pubs that are prepared to make us a hot soup, that's marvellous, we're going to pick that up. So anything at all, I'm quite happy to go and pick anything up if anybody's prepared to donate it. Fundraising grants, there's money all always is difficult to find. Constantly looking for grants to purchase equipment and anything like that, although that's very difficult because that doesn't give us any ongoing funding. So things like our big fundraisers, like the CEO Sleep Out that Vinnies organises each year, is actually being held at the Adelaide Oval this year. So if anybody's interested, I've got lots of literature on that you can take away if anybody fancies to sleep out for the night. Believe it or not, I'm over and under volunteered. On the city van, I've always got a waiting list of volunteers. It tends to tick a lot of boxes. People think that sounds fantastic. I'm coming out to feed the homeless. So I've always got lots of people waiting to come on board. On the same token, at some of my suburban sites, I have to maybe talk people into maybe travelling a little bit further to come and help us out. So that can be very challenging, but eventually I'll get them there. But yeah, that can be very frustrating too. Get lots of phone calls about volunteering, and that can take up quite a lot of time. But anyway, there you go. That's the problem with that. And one of the other challenges that I have is communicating with all of my volunteers, because I can't be there all of the time for all of the sites, for all of their services. The communication is tricky because we have to maintain consistency, and we have to make sure that they're doing the right thing by the clients. So I have to forge good relationships with those presidents and the team leaders to make sure that they, to make sure that they're across everything. Newsletters is always good, but it's a challenge, but we get there. Food rescue. Very close to my heart, food rescue, because I've got a couple of things that we've been involved in. I don't know if anybody's heard of Oz Harvest at all. Oz Harvest is a new charity in Adelaide. They've been here for about a year or so, and they actually pick up food from places like this. Say you have this lunch and you've got stuff left over, they might phone up Oz Harvest and say, we've got 10 meals or 15 meals, can you come and pick it up? They will come pick it up and they'll drop it off to people like us. Now, Oz Harvest provide us with sandwiches for my city van. They'll also pick up from Regency Take on a Friday. So all the stuff that they make in there in the take, whatever it might be, meals, whatever, in they go, pick it all up, and they just come down the road to Frayland Park and they drop it off to us, and then we present that to our people. Whatever's left over, we give to them to take home, and they can take it home for their meal for the next day. That's a really good partnership with Oz Harvest. They're really great. And one thing I'm trying to do at the moment is I'm trying to get some volunteers together so that we can go in partnership to the central markets and get what there has to be lots left over that I'm sure that we can utilise. So through them we can get into central markets and then we can provide some much needed stuff that at the minute we're paying for. So that's my challenge for this year. We also use bread. I was going to go back to Baker's Delight. In all of our sites we use a lot of sliced bread. Lots and lots and lots of it. Especially for the city vans, we make absolutely loads of sandwiches each night. And so up till about a year ago, we paid for our bread. And it came and it was delivered, and that's lovely. But there is just mountains of bread that goes to waste each day at all of the Baker's Delight. I'm quite sure you've seen it all. So the challenge was to use that bread, which is all unsliced, and of course we need sliced bread. We need it sliced very nicely, so it goes in our bags, and the volunteers can butter it. It's all very lovely. So I purchased a bread slicer, very naively. Thought, that'll do it. Just slice it. But it didn't do it because it needed to be guarded, and it had to be safely switched, and all the rest of it. Oh gosh! So I had to get a grant to do it. $1,600 later, got all the stuff, beautiful, lovely. So now we pick it up. We got 16 volunteers, and they come, get in the van, go and get the stuff, bring it back, slice it, put it in a bag, put it in the freezer. Don't buy bread anymore. It's fantastic. The only downside to that is when we pick up stuff from Baker's Delight, we tend to pick up everything else as well, because they quite like us to take everything. So we just got like a mountain of cakes, but we take them out in the van, so that's fine. But yeah, bread. Why would we pay for that? So we don't anymore. I was quite pleased with that. That was one of my success stories of last year. And then the next thing I was going to tell you about is a nice apple thread. Our corporate, I've got a corporate volunteering programme, if anybody might be interested, and I went out on one of these last night. We offer our services to any business that would like to send their staff through for its van. We provide the team leader, the deputy team leader, they know what they're doing, their experience. You provide 5 of your staff to us. They are the team, they make, they cook, they load, they serve, they do everything. And we charge, and embarrassingly, we charge $500 for that. But they have such a good time. I went out last night, works a treat. It's been going for about a year and it really works well. So if anybody's interested, just give me a point. Okay. So in my future, we just need to constantly improve on what we do, which of course we do. And I'd quite like to increase the nights that we serve, certainly on the city van. I know there's one of the nights that's free there, but like I say, we'll have to see on the budget and everything. One more slide, which is quite a nice one. It's going to, it might be, it's not an old one. It's no biggie, really. It's probably just...
As you can see, Vinnies are in the process of changing lives every day. Does anybody have a burning question? Because I'll allow one.
Your 11 nights a week had me intrigued.
Yeah. Okay, I just added them up because, of course, we've got 4 nights for the city, 2 nights for the cities. But yeah, 11 nights a week.
And as you can hear, Teresa's commitment to Vinnies is just absolute, and I know that she'd welcome anybody who wants to volunteer with a capital V. So on your behalf, I would ask you to rise and thank Teresa and thank you for coming today to share this story.